Welcome to Law Enforcement Coaching. Meet the coach with founder Tammy Sharp. Today we are speaking with one of our master coaches, Kevin Mede. Get to know a little about Kevin and see if he may be the right coach for you.
All right. Hi, Kevin. Thank you for being on the call today. The intention of this call is just to have you kind of talk and introduce yourself so that if anybody's looking to book you as a coach, they know a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and why you are a coach with us. So on that note, tell us about yourself.
Okay. Thanks for having me. So my name's Kevin Mede. I grew up in Northwest Washington, and I'm still here. I've worked for the same agency since 1999, a mid-sized sheriff's office, and been married. I got married 2 weeks before I went to the academy, so I've been married the same time frame that I've been a cop. Been able to kind of work my way up through the agency through patrol deputy to FTO, some specialty assignments sprinkled in there, patrol sergeant, major crime sergeant, and now I'm a operations patrol lieutenant. I also run our peer support team and our crisis negotiation team. So I still got my fingers in some things that I enjoy and that are some positive outlets there at work still. But that's my work background. I enjoy being outside, just doing about anything, hunting, fishing, hiking, trying to play golf, mostly donating golf balls to the forest and the ponds. But that's a little bit about me. I have two kids that are a 20-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl, and they're both doing fantastic in school. And one's at Pullman, Washington for WSU, and one's here in our hometown of high school. And that's what I have.
That's awesome. So you bring in multi layers to, that you could coach others on where if they're wanting to promote, you're part of the peer support, you're part of command staff. So you can kind of help in those areas. And then the fact that you've had a marriage for 23 years, 24 years, you said?
Over 24. Yep.
24. And then that was, you said, so you became a cop, you got married all within the same couple weeks. So yeah. If you really quick, I'm going to just put it out there off the top of your head. If you had a piece of advice for like the married couples of like how to navigate some of the ups and downs and shifts and craziness of it, what would you say off the top of your head for that?
This is cliche, right? But communication and how that translated to us and still does is the biggest barrier to communication, I think, is unspoken expectations. When people have an expectation of the other partner in their head, but they don't communicate that creates resentment and disappointment when the other person possibly had no concept of what you were expecting. And so they come home to somebody who's irritated or disappointed or whatever it may be, cluelessly. And then there's, why are you upset with me? This is ridiculous. I just worked a full shift. So that's you just speaking clearly about what your expectations are, your feelings, and not trying to walk on eggshells because someone's had a long shift. Choose your battles, of course, but that clear communication of what you expect and what's expected of you, I think, is key.
I love that. And also having a clear, not just the expectations, but a clear understanding of what the definition is of whatever those expectations are. I just ran into that in my own life where we were having a disconnect in the relationship, and we found out after communicating we had completely different definitions of what the actual issue was. And we're like, oh, because the more we tried, we thought we were coming together. We kept going this way. And we're like, what is the issue? And it's like, oh, we were on totally different pages. So having those conversations is really important. And then having, game plans too, moving forward, like how are you going to navigate this next chapter and all of that. So I love that you are fully experienced in all of those areas. If you had any guidance or advice for somebody that's coming into the law enforcement coaching website and they're kind of looking at your profile and they're not sure if they want to work with you as a coach, or just somebody that's like, I don't really know what I'm looking for, like what piece of advice or guidance would you have for officers and personnel?
Coaching is valuable in that it is an outlet and an opportunity to reach out. I think that one thing I wish I knew early on, and that I tell all of our new people, is that this job exacts a price from all of us, no matter who you are, because of the things we see, the things we do that you just cannot get out of, you cannot get away from. That doesn't have to take so much of a toll if you pay in little installments along the way through, coaching, through peer support, through therapy, through healthy outlets, friends outside of law enforcement, things that are make you well-rounded and more connected with a whole kind of a well-balanced, well-rounded life. That's how you get through this career, and you maintain your health, you maintain longevity, you maintain your positive attitude. Without those things, I think you can expect, you see it in some people, to pay in lump sums. And those lump sums are those experiences that build up, and they manifest themselves in negative ways, like, substance abuse, divorce, ruined relationships, bitterness, alcoholism, and ultimately, there have been suicides that almost everyone knows of someone who has paid that price, that I think is the ultimate lump sum. But I think that can be mitigated for our industry, for our people, if we kind of just learn to pay that along the way.
Exactly. Talking about it, what we do with coaching is we're taking a proactive approach. It's preventative maintenance, it's ongoing care, it's support by people that actually understand. One of the things I hear, we all hear about burnout. Everybody's like, oh, burnout, burnout, burnout. And to me, it's like, burnout is not a death sentence. That's not an end all. That's not a diagnosis. Like, we can all be burned out. I burn out multiple times throughout the week. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner. Like, we all experience different levels of burnout. So understanding that we can take a step back. We sometimes just talking about it to somebody that actually understands and can kind of help reframe that mindset. Burnout can be combated and be like, oh yeah, reinvigorated of what's my new passion and all of that. So have you experienced any kinds of burnout throughout your career, and how did you navigate that as you went?
I have. I was significantly injured in 2013. I was hit by a drunk driver, and I was pretty bitter about that. That whole experience and the way that episode was handled by a partner agency was, frustrating to me and my family, and it kind of led into some bitterness. I wanted to come back soon. I wanted to come back sooner than I was able. I wanted to come back at full strength. And when I did, I went pedal to the metal, because I'm going to prove to everyone, I'm good to go, and I'm going to make up for lost time, or whatever it may be, whatever story I was telling myself. And I ended up just heaping some pretty unrealistic expectations on myself, and saw that affecting, those around me, saw that affecting my squad. And I had people who cared about me saying, you need to slow down. And I was like, oh no, I'm doing great. And just that realization that what is my intent, and what's are these expectations realistic? And reconciling that with, I've got a long career, a long life ahead of me, and I don't need to accomplish these things the next 6 months or, 6 years even. That I'm going to do everything I can within reason, but maintaining healthy boundaries and a realistic expectation of what is expected of me or what I should be doing.
Well, and then you're also part of peer support. And I know you, so I know that you're really good at reframing negative events or things that are not so pretty, I guess, and putting, like, how can we spin it where you're still grounded, you're still realistic. You're not trying to negate, like, hey, yeah, some of the stuff is, crap. And what can we do with the crap sandwich? Like, reframing that. So was that injury and kind of that experience one of your teachable moments in learning how to do that and look at the positive side?
It was a catalyst for being attentive and grateful for what I had. It's hard to appreciate health if you haven't been sick, in a real sense. It's hard to, you take it for granted. And to be able to be where I am now with, mostly fully functional as far as I'm concerned, it's a good thing to look back and say, there was a period where I wasn't. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the people that helped me, and I could actually use some of my experiences and my trainings or whatever else, to actually be one of those people to help someone else. And that's one thing I really appreciate, is kind of the pay it forward idea. That meant the world to me. The people that invested in me, the people that took the time, the people that, what therapists and physical therapists and occupational therapists, and they're doing their job, but they did their job as I was a person with some investment. And that made such a difference. And that's something I want to be able to do as much as I can with what I have.
I absolutely love that. I think that's a great little cherry on the top to wrap this up. Thank you so much for your time. And for anybody that's wanting to book Kevin as a coach, you can just go down and click and look at his schedule and book that session with your dedicated promo code. Thank you.
All right, thanks.